welcome to Nectar Knitty Chats episode 5. My name is Bree. You can find me here on YouTube as Nectar Knits, or on Instagram as Nectar Knits, or Ravelry as Bree Callahan, Bree spelled like the cheese. Thanks so much for joining me. This is my video diary talking about my current projects, projects that I finished, and projects that I want to be working on. So I appreciate you for being here with me today as I kind of talk about these different things. My last video was about Maryland sheep and wool, and I got a lot of action on that video, so that was kind of fun to talk about my experience, but then also message with people in the comments just about their experience, if they had gone, if they wanted to go, what projects they had purchased for while they were there. So that was really fun, and I'm excited to kind of keep things going. So I hope that you enjoyed that video. If you want to keep hearing more from me, I do love comments. Feel free to like and subscribe. I feel a little bit like a lame YouTube person by saying that, but it does really let me know that people are watching and are interested and want to hear more. So yeah, like I said, episode 5 today, I'm going to talk a little bit about my current projects, but also I wanted to talk a little bit about my trip in England and some of the yarn I got there. I didn't get too much because my suitcase was super limited, but I did get a little bit, so I'm gonna get to talking about that. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, just had a little bit of an interruption. But anyway, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about what I'm wearing. So this is one of my summer tops that I've made. I made this last summer. This is the Lacy top by LSB Creates. Lisa is really wonderful and a friend of mine, and I got to test knit this last summer, but it was towards the end of the summer, and the grading process I think was a little harder because of the lace design, but it's this really pretty lace leaf design that's carried up through the bust and then finishes with an I-cord strap. And here you can kind of see it. I really like it. I made it in Line Brand 24/7 cotton, and I'm just really happy with the result. I like to wear it tucked in. It's been really, really hot here in Maryland. You can see I also got a little bit of sunburn. My fair-skinned folks will understand my pain. I did wear sunscreen, but that's all right. So it's perfect for the summer because it's been really hot here. It has a lot of breathing room. I guess I would normally wear a cami under this, but honestly it's just so hot that it's kind of nice to not. So this pattern actually officially released, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, so definitely go check it out. I'm super happy with it. I forget what size I made because it's been a hot minute, but yeah, I use 24/7 cotton. I think it's written for the cotton by Whack, but I use the Line Brand 24/7 cotton, which is one I really enjoy. I think it's got a good structure to it, so I really enjoy working with that one. I have a little bit more in my stash. I need to find my cotton stash. I packed it up for winter and haven't found it, so I have been trying to branch out from the cotton yarns because I don't love working with them, like knitting them. I don't love the experience of knitting with them, but I am really happy with this top. This was probably the first summer top that I made that I really was happy with the fit and the look. I had made some others, but they just didn't fit me quite right, and so I gave them away. I have another actually by Russ Knitwear that I really like, that's like a peplum tank, but because of the cotton, it has grown like a lot with wear. When I first wore it, it was totally fine, but it just doesn't have the same elasticity, so it just grew a ton. So I loved making it, I loved the result, but now it's too big, so I need to kind of figure out what I'm gonna do with that, but I'll talk about that maybe in a future episode. So yeah, so that's what I'm wearing. The lacy top, Lisa Borum. LSB Creates. It's on Ravelry and on her website. She has some other really great patterns. I think I want to do an episode that's strictly all my summer makes that I've made and just talking about my experience with them, because I have made quite a few summer makes and I have a few more that I'm going to talk about today, and it would be kind of fun to talk about my experience with them and as I've grown as a knitter, what are the things that I'm looking for. So I actually have quite a few finished objects because I haven't done one of these in a while, and on my last one I talked mostly about Maryland sheep and wool, so I am going to kind of talk a little bit about my finished objects. And I have 3, which I think is like a record high for me. I am a pretty monogamous knitter, and so I try not to work on several projects at once because then I get really overwhelmed. But I've been knitting a lot of summer projects, and I finished a whip that had been sitting in my stash for a while. So I have some exciting works in progress to talk about. Or sorry, not works in progress, finished objects. So I'm going to start with my one that I had been working on for the longest. I don't think I've shown this one yet. So I've shown it on as a work in progress, but not as a finished object. But this is my Cozy Winter Shawl. It's by Melanie Malinger, or Mylinger. She is a designer that my friend Tammy found and decided to do a knit along for. So I joined. My shawl is really small, but that was kind of on purpose. It also is garter and cable. So when I blocked it, it really grew, and I intentionally wanted it to be more, I guess it is not that small. I wanted it to be more light so that I could wear it as a scarf. I like the shawls I have, but I find that they're just like so much material in the front, and I just want to wear them like a scarf, that I don't really wear it like a wrap, because then I don't know, I guess I could. That's actually kind of cute. But then I guess, like, do you tie it? I don't really know what you do to keep it on your shoulders. But anyway, it's a really beautiful pattern. It has cables and some eyelet lace. And then once you get past kind of, well, you work this all the way through it, but then after a certain point you start adding in garter. And yeah, I mean, I made it in Drops Air. I still have more of this. I probably could make several more with how much I've left, because I just way overbought for a sweater. But so Drops Air, it's 50 grams, 164 yards, or 150 meters. It's alpaca, polyamide, and wool. Super soft, light as air. I mean, it lives up to the name. I love this color. It's just really pretty. It came out really, really nicely, and I am really happy with my results. So it's, like I said, it's super light, but it's very soft and warm. And so I've worn it a couple times. I just kind of wear it like almost like a bandana. Just tuck these ends under here, and I'm honestly super, super happy with that. I'm at first I was like, am I gonna regret stopping when I did? Am I gonna be unhappy with it? But I'm actually really happy with this because it's warm. I can kind of put it up here, but it's not so much fabric that it's uncomfortable. I can fit it under a coat. So I'm super happy with that. So again, that's the Cozy Winter Shawl. I did this for the Southpaw Woolery knit along. I definitely recommend checking out Southpaw. Tammy is really awesome, and it's just a really nice cable pattern. I would really like to learn how to knit cables without using a cable needle. I don't have a cable needle. I just either use a DPN or a pencil, if that's what I have on hand. And I find it really slow. And then this also was knit on pretty large needles, I felt, for the yarn, and sometimes I find that kind of hard on my wrists. I don't know why that is. I've had that before. Also, I'm realizing now that the other project that happened for was with Drops Air, and so I wonder if there's something about, because the polyamide, it doesn't have the same elasticity as wool, and I'm wondering if maybe this yarn is hard on my wrists, but I really love it. So, and then when I knit it in a sweater, I don't remember having that issue. Who knows? But yeah, really happy with it. Definitely will get a lot of wear out of it. I wasn't sure if it was going to be my style, but then it just blocks out so beautifully. So I'm just really, really happy with it. So, cozy winter shawl. My next finished object that I finished, I guess next, I'm super excited about. Release date is today, June 1st, and it's the Remy Cami, Remy Camisole by Kadri. Sabina's designs are classic and just so wonderful. I've loved every single one I've made. I have several more that I plan to make, and I had been looking for a nice summer pattern that I could wear a bra with. This one I'm wearing a bra with. In the back, I'm not totally getting away with it, but in the front, because I made a thicker I-cord, I can kind of get away with it. But I also know that my bra strap is thinner than some other people's. So anyway, this V-neck is perfect because you can get quite a thick bra strap and it fits so nice. It's 2x2 rib, and so it really stretches to meet your measurements. I'm super happy with it. I signed up for this test, and then right after I signed up, I went to Maryland Sheep and Wool, and so I bought this yarn from them, which I talked about on my last episode. It's rosy green wool, and the wool is called Lovely Merino Treat. It is a DK weight. It's a pretty heavy DK weight. So the Remy Camisole calls for Cardiff Cashmere Classic, which I did not buy. It looks amazing to work with, and she's there's a discount code that you can get it 15% off with I think with a promotion code, I think Remy. And and the cashmere is beautiful. I just frankly can't afford it. I think it's like $25 a ball, and I would have needed 4, and so I think my camisole would have been like $100 of yarn, and I've heard only good things about it. I just frankly can't justify the cost. That's fine. I'm a social worker, so gotta sometimes be smart about my purchases. But hi, this is Bree here. I went back to check, and it actually looks like it's about 14.50 euros, which comes out to about $16 US a ball. So not too bad. Thanks. Not that this yarn was I mean, it was reasonable, but it wasn't like inexpensive. But I have an entire ball left over. Because this was so much thicker, I used less yardage. I did have to go down a needle size to meet gauge. I used US 4 and the pattern calls for US 5. But I'm really, really happy with it. I don't often make patterns multiple times, but this one is definitely gonna come back. It's a pretty low V-neck, but it's just kind of on within the point of me being comfortable. Similar to this one, it's a pretty low V-neck, but I feel comfortable in this. This one is a low V-neck, but it just is in my comfort range. When I make it again, I would probably omit a few rows at the top, because I think, you do like, I forget how many repeats before you start the increases, and I would omit a few at the top just so that it's just a little bit, sits a little higher, but not too much. I'm really, frankly, extremely happy, but definitely would need to gauge swatch with whatever DK weight, because like I said, I think the Cardiff Cashmere's yardage is closer to a a fingering weight or a sport weight than a DK. And so in terms of gauge, I would definitely need to swatch and probably go down a needle size for the more traditional DK weights that I'm accustomed to. Or I could even like increase needle size and do a fingering weight, because I do think it could be interesting. Or I could one day get my hands on cashmere. I don't think that's gonna be happening anytime soon, but that's okay. So that is the Remy Camisole by Kadri, released June 1st. So today, totally recommend. It's got a great size range. You do want to size down for this one because the like ribbing, I mean, really stretches. So you want to make sure that you read, she talks about how much you want negative ease. And so I think I knit this with like 12, oh gosh, how many inches negative ease? Like a lot. And because you can see it looks teeny, but when I put it on, I'll put some footage of me wearing it. It fits like a glove. I love it. I could have even probably gone down another size. Because it just stretches so much. Great pattern, highly recommend it. Great testing group, just all around good experience. And then my last finished object is another summer top that I'm also super excited about. This is the Lines Summer Top by Rust Knitwear. I've test knitted for Simone before, and she's really great, and she has some really great patterns. She has several of the lines kind of line and I own them all. This is the only one I've knit. I bought it last year when it released, and I have been wanting to knit it, and then finally she did a knit along, and I was like, perfect opportunity. And while I was in England, I specifically knew I wanted to make this project, so I was on the hunt for yarn specifically for this project, and I just blocked it yesterday. I steam blocked it, and I love it. It fits perfectly. I love the yarn. It's I'll talk about it a little bit more, but it's like a Tencel wool blend, and it just has this like beautiful shine to it. Really nice. Just really nice. Like, I just wish, and it's the fabric is quite, I don't know if you can kind of see, it's loose, but when I wear it, it doesn't seem like you can't really see through it. So that's perfect for summer. I wore it yesterday, and it was almost 100 degrees today. Went on a walk, and I was totally comfortable in it. So I did steam block, and the hem rolls a little bit, so I think were I to make it again, I would consider doing like a couple rows of ribbing to prevent it from rolling up, but it's really not too bad. Again, like I did a steam, and that helped a ton, and it really opened up the pattern, and I'm just so happy with it. I have a few mistakes in it that I made, but honestly, I'm just thrilled with it. I think it looks nice. It's same on the front and the back, and so it you know, you can wear it either way. So I just kind of picked whatever side I thought looked the nicest, and yeah, I'm thrilled with it. So this was the Line Summer Top. I'll put in some footage of me wearing it. I'm just super thrilled with it. I need to trim this end. I did weave in my ends. I just need to trim this one because I weave in my ends, and then I trim them a teeny bit, and then I block, and then I snip my ends just so it doesn't get too tight then I snip my ends after that. So I'm super happy with it. I love it. So, and I love this color. I have a pink thing right now, I think, but you know, blue is my favorite color, but I find that I'm drawn to wearing pinks. Who knows? But yeah. So, and then I'll talk about my work in progress, and then I'll talk a little bit about my England experience. So, I am working on a whip that is a kit. It's my first time doing a kit, but my grandmother, my grandma Charlotte, is super supportive of me and my knitting. Her mom, so my great grandma Mary, was the original knitter in our family, and so my grandma Mary made us all stockings, blankets, sweaters, all kinds of stuff. And so my grandma Charlotte still has some of that stuff, and she shared some of my great grandmother's knitting stuff with me recently. And so she has been wanting something, which I've been really excited about, because I just really wanted to make her something for a while. And my grandma is, she lives up in Pennsylvania, and she's the best. So she asked me if I would consider making her a shrug, because she lives in a retirement home, and I think they really blast the AC, and then in the winter it gets quite chilly. So I was like, of course. We kind of looked around at different patterns. She sent me one that she liked, but I didn't love the construction of it. It was basically just knitting like three rectangles and sewing. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna look around. And then Knititude came out with a We Are Knitters kit that I really, really liked, but it sold out really quickly and I couldn't get my hands on it. But then the pattern did so well that she actually made one that was a partnership with Lion brand that I actually thought would be even better, because in terms of just the wear on the yarn, I just thought it might be a better fit for my grandma. I also thought the design was a little cleaner in terms of just texture, and I think my grandma would tend towards something that's like is a little more simple with some visual interest, but not like, I forget what it was. But anyway, so I saw the Fernwood Bolero. I ordered a kit the day it came out. It was super reasonable. So it's an interesting pattern. So it's funny, I talked about how I didn't want a pattern that was 3 rectangles that you sew up. Well, guess what? This pattern is a rectangle that I'm going to be sewing up. So I'm actually really excited to try out a different kind of construction. And you wouldn't believe it, I started this Sunday, and it just works up so fast. I guess that's what happens when you use bulky yarn. So it's with Hue and Me, which is a wool and acrylic blend from Lion brand. Two of Wands developed it. They have really great color selection, and I have used it before in a hat, but this is my first time using it. I have heard that it blocks out to be quite soft, so I'm hoping it will, because right now it's not bad, but it's like, I don't know. I think I'm a bit of a yarn snob, but I've heard that it becomes really soft with washing. So I'm hoping that it'll soften up quite a bit, but it's really pretty. So you knit this panel, and it has this really pretty lace work kind of in the middle here. So you've got this like kind of really pretty lace panel in the middle, right? And then on the sides it's stockinette. So lots of purling, but it's not too bad, and it works up quick. And I think I'll do this, I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 repeats. I think I'm gonna have to do like 15. So this is Hue and Me in the color Salt. It's a bulky yarn, although honestly it could even be considered a super bulky. It feels really thick to me. Not too although it feels like texturally really different from Woolly's Thick and Quick. But I am really happy with the pattern so far, and it was so cute. It came in a box from Lion brand, and I got this project bag, which I really liked, because I really only have one project bag. So, and then, you know, all the yarn came packaged up like this, so I still have, I think I have like 6 balls more of this. And I think this is just over a ball of yarn. So I do think I should have plenty of yarn. I mean, they calculate it based on the size you select. I'm making the second size for my grandma because it has a lot of positive ease. So I think the second size will fit well for her. And then I'm gonna see, once I sew it up, you sew it up and then you pick up and do like ribbing sleeves, so then it kind of like, and I think it comes to here. So I'm gonna sew it and then take a picture and send it to my grandma and see if she wants like little sleeve, long sleeve, and we'll kind of see from there. But I'm gonna be seeing my grandma in a couple weeks, and so I would love to have this done by then, which means I think I'm gonna be knitting like a mad woman but that being said, so I think it'll come this way and then I'll sew it together like that. No, that's not right. I know the pattern, the lace pattern goes like this way across your back. So I think I have quite a ways to go, but it's a really interesting construction. I'm looking forward to trying it out. Seaming is certainly not my strong suit, but there's always room for improvement. And I've definitely gotten better now that I understand more about it. But so this is the Fernwood Bolero by Knititude in partnership with Line Brand Yarn for my grandma. So grandma, I hope you like it. I hope she will. I know she'll tell me she likes it even if she doesn't, and then she'll tell my mom she doesn't like it. That's what would happen. But okay, so that is my current whip. Stay tuned if I finish it in 2 weeks. I'll definitely post about it, but it's been working out well so far, and it's definitely a nice kind of like, now that I know the pattern, it's going really quick. So then last but not least is talking about England. So me and Steve went to England to visit his sister who's attending Cambridge for the term. She's actually wrapping up really soon. And he also has family over there, so we decided to make a nice holiday out of it. We went for about just under 2 weeks, and it was really great. So I'm gonna preface and say the only yarn shop I went to was in Bath. There are lots of great yarn shops in London, and I think there was one in Brighton that we didn't quite make it to, but I only went to one in Bath for a couple different reasons. I was only in London for less than 24 hours, so we didn't have time to stop, although I know there's like a bunch of really nice London yarn shops. I'm gonna link a video that Creabea did on, she's a Scottish knitting podcaster who also sews and I think even maybe crochets. She did a episode on her like London yarn shop tour, and she talked a lot about each, I think she went to like 4 or 5 different ones. So I'm gonna link that because some people commented on my video and were like, oh, I can't wait to hear where you went in London. And we just only were in London for a day. Last time we went to England, we were in London for 5 days. This time around, we just went for 1 day because there's just so much that we wanted to see. And so we kind of were like, all right, we'll do a day in London. We saw Steve's family. We got to, tour some government buildings and then go to Camden Town, and it was awesome. But I did not go to any yarn shops there. But we did our first stop was Brighton, then we went to London, then we went to Bath, and in Bath, I follow Wool in Bath. I think they're just called Wool, but their Instagram handle is Wool.Bath. And I knew I wanted to go there. We also were staying really close by. And so I took Steve and his sister there, and it was awesome. It's just great selection, not like a ginormous shop, but it was a really great selection. lots of different companies, good selection of British wool, and I came on a mission. There's one thing I knew I wanted when I was in England, because it's harder to get in the US because of shipping. And this was inspired by Crayabea and I think the Knit Pearl Girl. I wanted a British wool cone. This is 500 grams, I think, of 100% British wool. And it is akin to a fingering weight. I don't think there's much more on the ball band, but I got this really pretty kind of, oh, here it is, British wool garden mint lot number 1 from Woolly Knit. Got it at Wool Bath. It's enough that I can definitely make a sweater. My goal is to hold it together with a mohair and make the first sweater by Hive Knits. So it's just this really pretty, like, light blue green. I love it. I think that'll look pretty nice on me. I don't know. So it's pretty rustic, but it doesn't feel like too itchy, and I've heard that it wears really, really well. So I'm super excited about this purchase. I just am looking for a mohair to go with it. I've looked at a couple different companies, and I just don't think there's anything that's quite the exact same color. So I think I'm gonna have to find a mohair that's close, or I think would look nice with it. There was a sale on Drops Air recently that had they have like a sagey green that might go close to this. So if anyone knows of, I looked at Knitting for Olive, I looked at, I think, Felcolana, I looked at Drops. Maybe I need to look a couple different places, because I'm sure Drops has other colors that might go with it. But if you know of one, it's like I said, so it's called Garden Mint. Oh, there goes the ball band. And it's this, I think that's pretty true to color. It's like a light blue green. It's beautiful. So I was super excited about that. And then I told them that at the shop, they're so, so, so nice. I told them I also was looking to knit some socks, because I finished some socks while I was on the trip. And so I was looking at their sock yarn, and I came across this really cute West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply. So it says reared, sheared, and spun in Britain. It's 75% wool, 25% nylon, and 35% of that is blue-faced Leicester, which is a type of sheep. And it's just this really fun, like, it kind of reminds me of like the Pacific Northwest. It's just this really fun combination of colors that I really like. So it's called Pheasant. It's 100 grams and it's 400 meters or 437 yards per ball. And yeah, like I said, it's a wool nylon blend. So I'm pretty excited about this. And so these will be socks for me one day. I think I have a trip coming up in July that I think I'll again bring myself yarn to make socks, because that was the perfect plain and train project. And so I think this will be a good plain project, because we have quite a bit of plain travel. So that was from Wool Bath, and then that was all I was gonna get. But then I was like, you know what, I want to knit this line Summertop, so let me just go and see if they have any summer yarns. And they did, and that's how I got this. I have an extra ball of it. So yeah, so you saw, so this was from, I think this is only, I would have to weigh it, I think this is only 2 balls of yarn, maybe 3, but yeah, so I mean I did definitely get a lot of bang for my buck. And then this was really not very expensive, and honestly none of this was, it was all very affordable. I think this cone was like less than $30, and it's enough, I think, to make like 2 sweaters possibly, especially if you hold it together with something. It's a lot of yarn. So anyway, this was quite reasonable too, and it's I came in, I told them I'm not a big cotton yarn fan, just haven't had a good knitting experience with it. And so I said I really like wool silk blends. So she pointed me to a bamboo blend, as well as this, which is the West Yorkshire Spinners Elements DK. And it's this really pretty like rosy pink, and then the tencel kind of has this like shiny silky quality to it, so it just has this really nice sheen to it, and it's really light, like it feels really light on the skin. It's 60% lyocell and 40% Falkland Islands wool. So it says this product contains tencel lyocell fibers. Tencel is a trademark of somewhere. But yeah, so I would have to look more into that, but I really enjoyed knitting with it, and it makes for a really nice summer yarn, and it feels really soft and silky. So really, and it was budget friendly. So those were all my England purchases. I literally made Steve wear his hiking boots on the plane so I could fit that cone in my suitcase, because I am super anti-checking baggage. So I was like, we're not going to check a bag, but I want some yarn, so you have to wear his feet are ginormous, so then his hiking boots literally took up like half of my suitcase. So I was like, you're wearing these on the plane so I can fit my yarn on the way home. And sure enough, it worked perfectly, and we even ended up having like, I could have bought more yarn, it would have been amazing, but that's all right. So yeah, after we went to Bath, we then went to the Cotswolds area, and then the Peaks District, and then we ended our time with family in Bedfordshire, as well as Cambridge. So, and then I met Sophie from the Knit Pearl Girl in Cambridge, and I definitely recommend checking out her patterns and her YouTube. She is just an absolute delight. I've really enjoyed getting to know her, and we just had the best time. We got coffee and some ice cream, and she just kind of walked us around, and Cambridge was beautiful. We walked by Knit Sew Craft, but I think it was closed. So, but at that point I was 90% sure we couldn't fit any more yarn in the suitcases. Like, our bags were packed to the brim, so it's all right. But yeah, and then I knew also I had Maryland sheep and wool right after that, so I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't spending too much money, because I knew I would spend a lot at Maryland sheep and wool, and I did. So that's all good. So yeah, I mean, so quite a few things, like just looking back at all these projects and everything. And yeah, so anyway, thanks for sticking with me. I am thinking about doing another episode on I have some acquisitions that I got recently, just locally. Sorry, my battery is dying. I have some acquisitions that I got recently just locally, but I think I'll do another podcast where I talk about those and my summer knits, because I don't know, could be fun to kind of just review all of them. I have some really nice projects. So, well, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast. Like I said, I'm going to link the Creabea podcast on London area ones, but one that I hear a lot is Beautiful Knitters, and it's and then I think Loop as well is another one, but I will definitely link it, because Beautiful Knitters I've heard a lot about. They have a lot of really lovely like solids and stuff, but more like classics. So that I've heard. I don't think they're like going to be your shop if you want like hand-dyed speckled yarn, but if you want a really nice sweater or top, that might be a good place to go. So I will link Creabea's video about it, and I yeah, I thank you so much for joining me. If you want to hear more, definitely like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if there's other topics you'd like me to talk about below, like I said, this summer projects, or maybe looking back at my first projects, or all my different sweaters, which I don't have that many, but we're getting there. But yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.